Today, our topic for lecture is national income, structure and composition. I am Dr. N. Vijay Raghavi, Assistant Professor of Economics, working in GDC Women, Gajwel. Let us see what are the various sectors of the economy which we use for sectoral composition. As we know, GDP, gross domestic product, or the national income is being taken from all the three sectors, namely the primary sector, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. So, in this way, we are having the three sectors. Let us see what are these three sectors and what are the components of the three sectors. First one is primary sector. Here we are going to have various sectors like agriculture and allied activities, resource extraction, mining, farming and fishing, which is more related with the land and its natural resources. At the same time, it is also called as the extraction sector because it is mostly related with the extraction from the land and other natural resources. Let us see the second sector, that is secondary sector, which is having the components like the secondary sector mainly consists of finished goods, that is mainly the manufactured, for example producing cars from aluminium, and construction, whereas we having building homes, factories, etc. And the last one, utilities, providing goods like electricity, gas and telephones to households. Let us see the third sector, that is service sector or tertiary sector. This service sector includes retail, financial services like insurance and investment, leisure and hospitality, communication, information technology and transportation. These are the three sectors working in any economy, even for all the countries including India. We take these broad sectors as the components of the economy in order to study the economy in detail, like what are the various structure, what is the structure and composition of national income, including the occupational structure of population, how they are engaged in various activities and how much of GDP is coming from which sector. In this way, these three sectors plays a major role in knowing about the contribution of the sectoral GDP. Let us have the next one, and what are the various trends in occupational structure. First, let us have the quantitative changes, that is in the sense rising trend of national income and per capita income. And what are the various factors which are coming under that. Regarding the rising trend of national income and per capita income, we have during the planning period, the national income of the country has certainly gone up. In 1950-51, net national product at factor cost or national income at 1999-2000 prices, that is the base price of that year, stood at rupees 2,06,493 crores. It rose to 27,60,000 and to 325 crores in 2007-8 at the base prices, that is 99 and 2000. It exhibits a better growth rate, but it is inadequate compared to the needs of the country. The only encouraging aspect is that it shows a rising trend. And next, let us see what are the what is the next changes which has come in this sector? Increase in agricultural and industrial output. We are going to see this in detail with the help of a table in the next slide. In this planning period, Indian economy experienced a higher growth rate in agriculture as well as in the industry. Pre-plan period recorded an agricultural growth rate of 0.3%, while the plan period showed a growth rate of 2.66% per annum. Performance of the industrial sector is certainly better when compared to the agriculture. But during the plan period 1950 to 2007, the overall achievement in this sector is termed as more than 4.8%. Trend growth of India's export shows Indian agricultural and industry are on the move. The next one is the qualitative changes or structural changes which has occurred in the Indian economy in the sectoral GDP. First one is sectoral composition of national income. What are the sectoral composition of national income? We have during the plan period not only economic growth has picked up, but also the economic development, that is growth plus change, also occurred in India. This amounts to saying that the Indian economy witnessed structural changes. By economic structure, we mean interrelationship among the different productive sectors, that is agriculture and allied activities, known as in the primary sector, manufacturing industries, that is called the secondary sector, and trade and services, that is in the tertiary sector. At a low level of economic development, one finds predominance of the primary sector. The predominance of any sector can be viewed from the sectoral composition of national income. We are going to discuss this in detail with the help of a table in the next slides so that we can understand this better. When in an economy, primary sector is considered as the predominant one, then it means that the contribution of this sector towards national income is the largest. At the same time, the bulk of the population derives their livelihood for this sector. We can say that in the sectoral composition of national income as well as in the occupational pattern, the importance of the secondary and tertiary sectors gets reduced. As economic development proceeds, the interrelationships among these sectors undergo a change. As economic development takes place, the primary sector loses its importance and secondary as well as the tertiary sectors gain in importance. Thus, structural changes indicate economic development. That is what is said by the Colin Clark also in his hypothesis. Let us see the next one, sectoral composition of national income. How to understand this in a better way. If you take in 1950-51, the contribution of the primary sector towards India's gross domestic product or GDP was nearly 55.9%, while it was 14.9% for the secondary sector. You can see the difference between the percentage of GDP from agricultural sector and secondary sector. There has been a steady decline in the share of the primary sector in GDP, and it declined to 19.4% in 2007 and 7-8. Over the plan period, as the industrial sector has expanded, its contribution to GDP has been on the rise and it rose to 25% in 2007 to 8. Along with the growth of the secondary sector, the services sector also registered a higher growth rate. In 2007-8, its contribution was 55.7%, which can be even observed from the table also. In 1950-51, agricultural and allied sector contributed 55.6, whereas services sector whereas the services sector contribution was 29.2%. And over the decades, you can observe from the table, it has increased for service sector, whereas the GDP's share from agriculture sector has declined steadily. In 2007-8 it is only 19.4%, whereas the services sector rose to 55.7%. At the same time, if you observe the industrial sector, that is manufacturing sector or secondary sector, it has steadily grown from 14.9 to 24.9. But as we know that when the development takes place in any country, uh, we can say that if any country is moving towards development stages, in the first stage it will be like more of predominantly agriculture, and then it proceeds to manufacturing, and then it proceeds to service. But in India there is a unique phenomenon that it has, without increasing the industry, the movement has taken place from agriculture to services sector, which is only happening in this type of country. The economic development took place during the last 5 decades of planning. The primary sector has lost its preeminence as against the 29.2% in 1950. It is also a sign of economic development, we can say. Now let us go to the next one, that is occupational pattern. We can observe that the occupational pattern from various sector has changed a lot from 1950 to 2006 7. Sectoral growth rates and occupational pattern has taken a major change towards this particular occupational structure. You can see from the table, if you see what is the distribution of working population from 1951 to 2000 per se, the primary sector's occupation has declined steadily from 72.1 to 56.7, whereas the secondary sector has increased from 10.6 to 17.5, that is manufacturing sector. Tertiary sector has grown heavily, that is 17.3 to 25.8. And this table will give us a bird's eye view of the distribution of working population and how it is changing in the three sectors. It gives us an idea about the development also taking place in India. In the light of the structural changes, one finds that India's occupational structure is a static one. We know that as development takes place, occupational structure also undergoes a change. The Clark-Fisher thesis says that in an expanding economy, employment situation shifts more and more in favor of secondary and tertiary sectors. The number of people engaged in the primary sector tend to decline while it tends to rise in the other two sectors. This sort of change in the occupational structure indicates economic development. But considering the development of the Indian economy in the last 6 decades, recently one finds some favorable change in the occupational structure of India. Throughout the 20th century, the percentage of people engaged in agriculture has not fallen appreciably. In 2000 also, 57% of the total population were engaged in the primary sector compared to 72.1% in 1951. Whereas between 1951 and 1981, the percentage of population engaged in secondary sector has marginally raised from 10.6% to 13.5%, but it declined to 12.7% and rose to 17.5% in 2001. There is a steady rise in employment in the tertiary sector. It rose from 17.3% to 25.8% in 2000. So this shows a lot of change which has come in the occupational pattern, which has mainly due to some reasons like the massive rise in population and inadequate growth of both industries and services sector. Only in recent years there has been a drop in the number of people dependent on agriculture. It is around 52%. And next comes the development of basic and heavy industries. After independence, India's industrial structure was devoid of any heavy and basic industries. In other words, India's industrial structure at the time of tilted heavily in favor of consumer goods industries. But under the impact of planning, especially the second 5-year plan, industrial structure has been diversified and other types of industries had been set up. And mainly we can say that our then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru said that these key and basic industries, mainly iron and steel industries, are like temples of development. They have developed various iron and steel industries in various places like Bhilai, Bokaro, Durgapur, and Rourkela with the help of various other countries like USSR, Germany, and Russia. USSR, Germany, and Great Britain. So, in this way, the industrial structure, which was set up in 1956 in the third 5-year plan, played a major role in the setting up of industries, that is, which is a basis for other industries. We can say these are the key and basic industries which are necessary for the development of other industries. In this way, the development of basic and heavy industries has played a major role in bringing about the qualitative changes or structural changes in the economy, that is mainly in the sectoral contribution. Then we have economic and social capital formation. By social capital, we mean transport, irrigation, power, education, health, etc. Building up of social capital is one of the prerequisites of economic development. Infrastructural development helps quicker economic development. So, social capital formation is equivalent to economic development. During the plan period, we have made rapid strides in respect of construction of railway lines, irrigation, power, health and sanitation, and also education. Next comes our advanced estimates of gross value added at basic prices by economic activity, which we have taken from 2018-19 estimates. Here, this table gives us detailed information about what are the various industries and where the contribution is coming from and what is the exact figure, like for example in 2016-17, what is the exact figure at current prices, that is in how many crores of rupees. Here in this table we can observe that agricultural, forestry and fishing 2016-17, 17-18 and 2018-19 percentage change over previous year is only for 3.8%. We have many factors which are behind this kind of development. Mining and quarrying. Mining and quarrying, we can say that there is percentage change in the mining and quarrying is 12.5 and 22%. Manufacturing, that is the secondary sector, we have 8.6 and 12.8. Electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services, we have 6.7 and 16.8. Construction sector, we have 8.8 and 14.3. Next comes trade, hotels, transport, communication and services related to broadcasting. There is a lot of change which has come in the growth rates, like suppose we have 11.4 and 12.4. In the financial, real estate and professional services, we can see a major change, 10.8% and 12.4%. And last one, public administration, defense and other services, we have 14.4% and 14.1%. And if you take the gross value added total at the basic price is 9.7 and 11.7. And we can see in figures it is 1 crore 38 lakhs 41,000 and 591 crores, whereas in 2018-19 it is 1,69,000 69 lakhs and 61,000 and 365 crores. So in this way we can say that gross value added at basic prices has increased from 9.7% to 11.7%. Services sector is the largest sector. Gross value added at current prices for services sector is estimated to be 92.26 lakh crore rupees in 2018-19 as observed from the table. Services sector accounts for 54.4% of total India's gross value added of 169.61 lakh crore Indian rupees, with gross value added of rupees 50.43 lakh crores. Industry sector contributes to 29.73%, while agriculture and allied sector shares 15.87%. The agriculture sector has maximum share by working force at nearly 53%, while services and secondary sector shares are only 29% and 18% respectively. Here in this table we can observe that advanced estimates of gross value added at basic price by economic activity. That the previous table was about the current prices. This table is about base year prices. We can observe from the table percentage change over previous year. Agricultural, forestry and fishing. In 2017-18, it is an increase of 3.4% annual growth rate. In 2018-19, it is 3.8% growth rate. In mining and quarrying, it has decreased from 2.9% to 0.8%. In manufacturing sector, it is 5.7% and 8.3%. In electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services, 7.2 and 9.4%. In construction sector, 5.7 and 8.9%. Trade, hotels, transport, communication and services related to broadcasting, 8.0 and 6.9. Financial, real estate and professional services, it is 6.6 and 6.8%. In public administration, defense and other services, 10.0 and 8.9%. GVA at basic price, 6.5 and 7.0%. So in this way, in this table, we can see what is the exact growth rates per base year prices, whereas in the previous one we have observed from the current year prices, which shows to be an increase in the growth rates, but in base year prices it is a we can say that it is a nominal increase of 0.5% at base year prices. So this table gives us a exact glance of what happened in the economy with the help of base year prices. So from the above discussion, to conclude, we can say that there is these are considered as criteria for development. Then we must say that the Indian economy has witnessed an enormous change which are not only synonymous with development but also helps the process of development. The black spots of underdevelopment are still prominent. At the same time, it is true that we have been able to come out of the low-level equilibrium trap engineered by the British Raj. Signs of development are positive in nature. We find both the pictures of development and underdevelopment. It exhibits thus a pictures of contrast. The British economist John Robinson once remarked about India that whatever could be said about it, so could the opposite. The Indian economy can be told as an underdeveloped developing economy as per our Joan Robinson. And let us take some discussion about the growth rates, the slowdown in growth rate, inefficient agriculture. These has been the some of the factors which has helped in, we can say that it plays a major role in why there were enormous changes and why the agricultural rates remained low and why the growth rates remained low during 1950 to 2000 years, 2000s. We have the next one, the rigid labor laws, which were posing as a threat to the development of industrial sector. At the same time, entrepreneurs who wanted to run the business, and we can say that from 1991 itself we had somewhat liberal structure of the economy, like in the form of liberalization, privatization, globalization, and giving more importance to the private sector. Abolition of MRTP Act also played an important role, and these are the various things which happened in this sector. Next comes the larger budget deficit, which was there from various years, like from 1950s, due to war, depression, monsoon changes, seasonal changes, some kind of drought which happened in Indian economy. These are all the various factors which has contributed to the larger budget deficit and poor infrastructure. Poor infrastructure in terms of agricultural technology, obsolete technology in industrial sector, at the same time mechanization of agriculture, all this played a major role in keeping the rates low. And we can say one of the important thing which we can say the sectoral contribution of GDP is major portion of GDP is being contributed by agriculture, which may not give you a correct picture in the world arena, because various countries were having very less share from agriculture sector, whereas they have more share from industrial and tertiary sectors. Mostly until recently we had more share coming from agriculture, which is again one more sign of underdevelopment. And we can say that recently only after liberalization tertiary sector also picked up, and it is going enormously. And in 2013 we have this Make in India campaign, national manufacturing policy introduced by our government, which has given a boost to the manufacturing sector. And Make India campaign has given a boost to the local made essential goods or machinery and manufacturing goods instead of importing from other countries. These campaigns have given a boost to the manufacturing sector. And next we have poor education and skills also. We know that we have very good human capital, that means in terms of numbers, but here we have a problem of illiteracy, poor education, and the gap between the skills and also the jobs. This has contributed a lot to the poor quality of human capital, which also posed a major threat to the this contribution of GDP, sectoral contribution. And we can say that more dependence on agriculture, predominantly agriculture, being agriculture, and disguised unemployment, which is a major unique feature which we can see in India and other underdeveloped countries, where in this disguised unemployment, more people are employed in a piece of land which needs only less people. That is, the marginal product of extra people is either zero or minus. That also contributes a major role in this sectoral contribution. And last one is inflationary pressure. The inflationary pressures which we are facing in consumer price index and also the wholesale price index, and uh, which had a very retarding obstacle in the field of development, like in the setting up of new businesses or continuing the old businesses, or entrepreneurship skills. Inflationary pressure has a lot of obstacles, has put in a lot of obstacles in the path of development, we can say. In this way, the sectoral contribution is being affected by all these factors, and we have seen figures have changed a lot enormously, but in base year prices we have seen a very minor or nominal change in gross value added or GDP. We can say that we can conclude that, oh, in spite of all these factors which are retarding the growth, the sectoral GDP had taken major strides, major shift in the from primary sector to tertiary sector. Instead of touching upon the manufacturing sector, it has straight away gone from primary sector to the tertiary sector, which is also a unique phenomenon which we can observe from India. So with this we are concluding this lecture. Thank you for listening.